And welcome back to Metropole Sports Center. Today's edition is particularly a fans special, just talking to some of the fans of the English Premier League and get their reflections on what they think about their respective teams in the league. Now in studio on this second segment, I'm joined by a very disappointed Arsenal fan, Elijah Simba Charles Kiage. Simba, you expressed a lot of disappointment with your team even after the resumption of the league. Why are you a disappointed Arsenal fan?
Two things. Arsenal is a very big club. It's a big club. It's a huge club. We sell tickets. We actually have one of the most expensive tickets actually in the EPL right now. And look at our position 8.
Position 8.
Yeah. So it beats the whole point. But we have a big name, a big history that you expect to live up to, and we're not living up to that history. But the biggest disappointment is coming in from the fact that we don't seem to move away from our problems. We never get to fix things in the entirety, in the sense that your defense is good at one point, but your mid and striking is broken. Your striking is good at one point, and your defense and mid is broken. That has been the problem for Arsenal for some time right now. I will look at it and then tell you that over the past 3 seasons, when Wenger really started, things started going down south for Wenger, we haven't fixed it up to now. Yes, the best striker we've ever had was Van Persie. We've never seemed to replace Van Persie. We replaced him with Aubameyang, but the best midfielder we ever had, the likes of Fabregas and all that, we've never seemed to replace them. You get it, the best defenders we've ever had, the likes of Gallas and all that, who gives a history, we never seem to get to replace them. And that for me is the disappointment for Arsenal. Is that you got promise, but then this promise is just in a little...
It's like hot air.
That's it.
You can see potential, but it's not leading. It's not leading anywhere.
We can play good. I tell you, we got good players. Saka is a good player. I know the guy you just hosted here, Shilenje, will not agree that Martinelli is a potential striker. Yeah, and we've got good guys at different spots, but then they don't have that. You can't give them the team. Yeah, like carry the team. You can put Saka. I'll probably give you an example now. Let's compare what we have at Arsenal versus Liverpool. Now, well, we have Saka, but I don't think that you can actually make Saka play like an experienced midfielder from Liverpool right now. I will tell you, Ox, our former player at Arsenal.
He's doing pretty well at Liverpool.
But then he's not carrying the team.
Yeah.
No, he just comes in as a sub. Yeah, I mean, he's not played for the entire of the season. Yes, he was on injury, but he's not played for the entire of the season. You see that thing? He's not carrying the team because you still expect that he's young and his game needs to develop. But now you have the likes of Saka, the likes of Martinelli, the likes of Joe Willock, who are really good players. Ceballos, really good players, but you're giving them the team to carry. We didn't replace Ramsey. I will tell you that in entirety. We don't have a Ramsey in our team. Yeah, and you seem to have Xhaka, but then you can't give him the whole responsibility for the team. Yeah, that for me is the disappointment.
Okay, but now the question is the problem with the coaching, or it's the player mentality, or it is the management beyond Mikel Arteta? What's exactly the problem, do you think?
The problem is this, and I will tell you, Shilenje, your former guy, will not agree with me. We need to uphold, the face of football, football in itself, in this sense. I'm against what Man City is doing. I am against what Manchester United have been able to do. Yeah, sending Pogba out and then paying to the last dime in your bank just to get him back. Yeah. Buying the likes of Fernandes with a lot of money into your bank. We have bought a couple of them. I'm not saying no, but I think Arsenal, we've been pushed to that end. The philosophy of Arsenal is get fresh talent, grow them to the level that they're going to be an awakening force. What we did, especially when we were the Invincibles. I mean, most of the guys were actually born in Arsenal. The game was pretty much brought up in Arsenal. But now, that strategy for football is not working anymore. And you see, that's exactly what we're staying up to. Actually, that's why we brought in Arteta. And I'll give you this. Arteta is going to stay in Arsenal for the next 10 years also.
Whether or not he wins the league.
Of course, he wins.
So it's pretty much more
sticking to a philosophy that Wenger invented, and we're still there. And that doesn't seem to work for us now. Because now, somebody will tell you, when you look at Arsenal, we need to shop really good. Get good DMs, get good defenders, and then you're good to go. But see what we're doing. I mean, the best buy we've done so far is for Ceballos, who came in on loan. We're not even sure we're going to hold him after the season is done. So when he goes away, what happens?
I think I'm gonna share my frustration with you as an Arsenal
You
fan.
need, man.
If Arsenal at the end of this, okay, the season is done.
The season is done.
and
Yeah, isn't
wrapped.
it? Yeah, right.
I'll be so disappointed if Arsenal actually let go of Ceballos.
That's it, isn't it?
Given his performance
Yeah,
during
especially
this season.
yeah.
Because even when you're watching the particular matches when before Ceballos is subbed into the game, you can actually see a difference. Within the first, say, 5
Yes.
or so minutes when Ceballos is in the pitch, you can see a difference. There's somebody
There's quite a
called-
difference here.
yeah.
And he's a hustler. That's what Ramsey was. Yeah? That's what the likes of Song Belong were. I'm going way back because those are the best midfielders we've ever seen in Arsenal. You know? Guys who could hustle the ball, you know? Give you. I mean, they were all over the pitch. That's what Ceballos is. You can see guys are dying for the team. So bad to mention the likes of Wilshere. They were hustlers for the game. Yeah? But we don't. What Ceballos goes, who is going to hustle like that? Xhaka can't run all over the field.
he can't.
He doesn't do that. And he's a midfielder who's, I would say, prone to mistakes. So you give him the whole game to carry without a proper support system around him. He's done. Joe Willock is trying, but he's young. You can't give him the game. Yeah. I mean, who's gonna be there? We got nobody. So
To
you let
hustle for the ball.
So let Ceballos go. Your identity again goes. You know, and then you bring in somebody who comes in with a different strategy, and then you try to build them like that. That for me is the biggest problem. I will tell you. Come to England right now. We have the best striking force in Aubameyang, in Lacazette, and being flanked by the likes of Pepe. We're good to go. I mean, we could be ranking up there. I mean, Lacazette has more than 10
Probably
goals.
we could even qualify for the Champions League.
Pretty much.
But in position
Lacazette has more than 10 goals. Fine. Aubameyang, second top scorer. I mean, he's got 20 goals, sharing the same statistic with Ings is 21. Fine. So it's top 3. So that tells you kind of have one guy carrying you. When you have a top scorer like that, and that's what made Van Persie go, if you remember in the last season, he had 30 goals. But then you look at where Arsenal is, we're struggling at number 4, telling you there's something in that system that is not clicking. Because if you look at what Manchester United are doing, look at Martial and Rashford, 17 goals apiece, top 3, good. You can support that. But here is somebody with 20 goals, top 3 among the top scorers. But look at the team, number 8. That tells you no support system.
I'm telling you, as an Arsenal fan, I wasn't even assured of number 8.
That's it. I thought we're going to clear number 11.
Yeah,
man.
even when I'm watching, I usually tell some of my football fans that whenever I'm watching an Arsenal fan, and whenever I'm watching an Arsenal match, I'm never so sure until the last whistle is blown. Because for a moment you'll see Arsenal leading, and then like at the 90th minute.
That's it. Same thing
Arsenal
almost
down.
happened to us. I mean, the last game, Watford,
Yeah.
it was 3-2, but we had the game in our hands, but it could go either way, because the only thing they needed was a draw, and they could sustain themselves in the EPL. Too bad they've gone down, and it's too bad, too sad that Arsenal, a team that is not performing that good in the EPL, is the one that's also causing them to go down. But here's the thing, though. The biggest frustration for Arsenal is that we're living in the past. We still think that we can, Leicester have done it. Yeah, but you can also now start to see their struggles because they don't have so much money to invest now to sustain the tempo of football, whatever it is that we're going. Big buys, go in, shop for 3 guys who are going to cost you like 300 million and you're good to go. That's football now. And that's why Man City have been in problems when it comes to financial fair play rules. But that for Arsenal is what is costing us. Is that we almost do that, but we're not supposed to do that. Look at what we did. We spent so much money on Pepe, we didn't have money to get any other person.
Yeah.
Meaning,
So you spend big and then you stay broke,
you
and
get
then
nothing.
and then when the fans start complaining, you're like,
You got no money.
We
to
don't
spend
have any
because you
money
spend
to
all of it.
spend,
Because
yeah.
I think Pepe was a purchase out of pressure. Everybody is buying. What you gonna do?
Yeah,
Get Pepe. We didn't need Pepe. I will tell you that. That's my biggest disappointment as well. We didn't need Pepe. Yeah, because I would tell you that our biggest problem was not even position 10. Now, why would you get Pepe for that? I mean, we have Ozil, or we don't know he's gonna play again. That's another thing as well. Taking so much money, 300 in a week, but how many
He's not
times has he
playing.
played this season?
Yeah.
So if you don't need him, why don't you take him out? That has been my biggest disappointment for Arsenal. But hopefully, as we start next season, I'll watch a couple of games. Yeah, too bad I was telling you before we came on air that I know everything that goes on.
I hope you'll find time to watch, because I know like you were so disappointed with the
man.
matches.
Here's the thing.
Like sometimes you even choose to do other things other than
Pretty
watch
much, and
Arsenal
don't even get to watch.
match.
But let's hope Arteta gets the support that he needs, because we've got good players, the likes of Saka, Joe Willock. I mean, good players. Saka, our new number 7, good. But here's the thing though, does he have the support? Because I don't want to see Saka play game in, game out, game in, game out.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
quite young, man. You don't want to give him that responsibility. Give him better players. But question is this, if you go to Liverpool right now, would you have Saka play game in, game out? No. Because you
They
have, so many,
they have so many players who are
and
playing in
experienced
the
players.
same
Because
position.
yeah, because you want your young players to come in and learn and then have a point to prove. You see, that's the thing. Have a point to prove. You can't give him the responsibility right now. No, have a point to prove in the sense that I'm way good. I can actually match the level of experience that you need me to have in the field. But right now, when you give Saka, Joe Willock, the likes of Ceballos to carry you through a game, nah, that's where we get it wrong.
Okay.
That's where we get it wrong.
So the transfer window has been
Officially open?
Officially
Do we even
open.
have the money to get any player? Yeah?
That's the question. Now, any transfer decisions that you're probably expecting Mikel Arteta, any players,
There's some people that
any
I wanna,
any
yes.
expectations you have?
There's some people that I want out. Mustafi should go out. David Luiz should go out. That guy is a disaster. 5 penalties in a single season that we haven't even played that much.
On David Luiz there, I agree with you.
Totally, you
Because,
should
okay, initially when I saw him in an Arsenal gear, I was like,
This
yeah,
is what,
finally.
yeah, here's the thing. This is what other fans will tell you. That, oh, David Luiz is a very good player. When he was at Chelsea, he was really good and he didn't get so many mistakes. No, David Luiz, even at Chelsea, he had these mistakes that we're talking about here. But under which planet can a player cost you 5 penalties in a season and then you just retain him there? Let him go. Mustafi, let him go. But we have a lot of debut. I will say this, Ozil, it's time for him to go, man. Let him go to China.
Probably
or-
go to China. Or
but he can't go there because they don't need him in China. You know what he did the other day when he was talking
Yeah.
about the retraining camps.
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
Well, they don't need him there. Probably go to, I don't know where it's going to go to. But we don't need him now. I'd rather we spend that money, distribute it in the team, and get, and I will tell you this, I don't want Arsenal to win. Because here's the thing.
Why
One,
though? Why though?
let us build.
Okay.
If
The same-
Aubameyang wants to go, let him go. Yeah, let him go. We build the smaller players in that position. The likes of Martinelli, they can really be perfect number 9s. He's got that promise. Too bad that he got injured not to play the season with us. So that now we stop this false hope that we're the big boys. We are not anymore, and adopt the Liverpool mentality and say
Liverpool,
we are
Leicester.
going to build. Yeah, we're going to build a team that's going to be a force in the future. But right now, what do we want as Arsenal? Get to the top 4, it's going to be a struggle.
Yeah.
Look at Tottenham, look at Manchester United, look at Chelsea, look at Leicester, they're really good. But when it comes to us, nah, let's just build guys who can play for us in the future.
Okay.
Best thing for me next season is to clear the top 10 again. But I want to see the younger players get more chances, and I want to see buys that are
That have a-
specific in the sense that we have a problem in the midfield. Let's get that. We have a problem in the defense. Sorry, let's get that. That for me will be the Arsenal. But this whole issue of we're the big boys, so let's go play. Nah,
It's not going to help Arsenal.
Yeah.
So Simba, thank you so much for finding time to share your frustration and reflections on Arsenal. I hope things change next season.
Yeah, we're still a bigger club than Chelsea, than Man City, than Manchester United. I believe that. But we just need time to get there again because we were there.
Okay.
Yes.
And we quickly shift gears into the Money Ref segment of the show, where we are going to be making sense of the money that is in sports. On today's segment of Money Ref, you're going to be looking at the share revenue of teams in the English Premier League. Just which team made the most money in the just concluded league, the English Premier League, I beg your pardon. Now, part of that, you're going to be making a comparison with how much the teams won in 2019-2020 season, 2018-2019 season, 2017-2018 season, and finally 2016-2017 season. Now, by virtue of being the champions of the English Premier League this season, the team that won the league, that is Liverpool, took home a total of £153 million. pounds. That one is representative of 38% of the overall, I beg your pardon, revenue in the English Premier League. Manchester City took home a total of 148 million pounds. Manchester United took home 151 million pounds, and then Chelsea took home a total of 143 million pounds, and then finally Leicester City took home 132 million pounds. The merit share, according to the merit share in the amount of money that was distributed among the clubs, is 36% for Manchester City, 34% for Manchester United, and 32% and 30% for Chelsea and Leicester City respectively. Now we look at how much the teams made in the season 2018-2019. The figure stands out as the following. Manchester City took home 151 million pounds. Liverpool took home, who were the runners-up in the season 2018-2019, took home 152 million pounds, and then Chelsea took home 146 million pounds, and then Tottenham Hotspurs took home 145 million pounds, and then finally Arsenal 142 million pounds, and then Manchester United took home 143 million pounds. Now we quickly shift gears into the season that is 2017-2018. Chelsea took home 152 million pounds, Tottenham Hotspurs 142 million pounds, Manchester City 149 pounds, and then Liverpool 148 million pounds, and then followed by Arsenal 142 million pounds. Now in the season 2016-2017, which was also won by Chelsea, Chelsea took home 150 million pounds, followed by Tottenham Hotspurs 145 million pounds, and then Manchester City 146 million pounds. Finally, and Liverpool 146 million pounds, and then finally Arsenal 139.6 million pounds. A quick comparison among the in terms of how much the teams have taken home the past couple of years, from 2016 to 2020, you'll realize that the number has actually increased compared to 2016-2017, when the winner took home 150 million pounds, to 2019-2020, when the winner took home 153 million pounds. Well, that's how much the teams made in the leagues over the past couple of years. Now we quickly shift gears into the interesting facts, I beg your pardon, that you need to understand about the English Premier Leagues. Now, Ryan Giggs is the only Premier League player who has played in all 21 seasons of his career. Ryan Giggs was substituted 134 times during his career time. You remember that Ryan Giggs currently coaches in the Wales national team. Now, Peter Crouch scored a total of 51 headers during his career duration when he was playing for Stoke City. Remember, he was a top-flying striker for Stoke City a couple of years back, and the fact that he scored 51 years, we'll say, was sort of helped because of the height that he has. If you've seen Peter Crouch, then definitely you know he's pretty much a tall guy. So the high balls were definitely a go-to possession for him. Now, Jamie Carragher scored just 5 goals in his career at Liverpool. Jamie is currently an analyst with Sky Sports. He's actually one of the former players of Liverpool who are currently very happy when Liverpool was declared the champions of the league. Now, the Premier League is the richest football in history. Look at this. It earned a total of 4.5 million and 2 billion more than any European league. This particular figure makes the English Premier League the 4th highest of any sports, behind the NFL, Major League Basketball, and NBA. Each match in the English Premier League is viewed by roughly 12 million people in the world. Then Manchester United have won the Premier League title the most times, with an incredible 13 times. It's interesting. It is going to be interesting to see whether that number is going to be topped up by any team in the English Premier League in the coming matter of years. Now, Alan Shearer's hold the Premier League goal scoring record with the most goals scored with 283 goals during his duration of appearance. And then finally, Manchester United's Old Trafford is one of the biggest stadiums in the English Premier League because it is able to hold a total of 70,000 spectators in one sitting. Now that's what you need to understand. That's what you needed to understand about the sports facts segment, and the interesting fact that you probably did not know about the English Premier League. We are going to be taking a short commercial break, but then after the break we are going to be going through some of the tweets that express the sentiments of some of the fans of the English Premier League. See you after the break.